Welcome back to Lower Lap Time, guys. I hope you're going well. Good to have everyone in the chat. I've been just interacting with a few of you beforehand. Bita Disania says currently it's 35 degrees in Austria. Oof, mate, that's hot. So we'll see how that plays out. Everyone's been talking about McLaren having all this extra tire wear and water cooling and what else are they doing? Phase changing materials. Mate, it's just got good front end and it's just a good car that can look after its front tires because it's got a surplus of front grip, which means they don't slide the front tires, which means they don't overheat, which means they degrade. That's it. So, all right, Dave Oz, your comment got my attention. Give me an O, give me an S, give me a car. Oscar, yep, Aussie fan here. Well, Martin 12K, thanks to you guys. So a few channel updates. You guys may have seen me featured on the FP1 Will video. He put out a video called, what was it called? Lando, I forgot the name of it now. Someone remind me in the chat. I forgot the name. What was it? Lando's, the name escapes me now. But anyway, I had a feature in that video. He clipped one of my videos and stuck that in his video. And you guys were amazing. You just came in there and just smashed his comment section. I think that video did well for him. And if you are over here from the FP1 Wheel channel, welcome. This is Lower Lap Time, where we speak only about lowering lap times and anything that can contribute to lower lap time. Remember, in a sport told in tenths, no hundredths, no thousandths of a second, everything matters. This surely matters. So if you're here, welcome. Yeah, and in these Thursday live streams, we just try to predict and have a look what's going to happen. Which are the important corners mentioned? No names, Lando Norris, turn 6 at Canada. Yes, it's an important corner. And if you were here on the live stream, you will know all about turn 6. So yeah, if you're here, welcome once again. Another channel update. I met with a mindset performance coach during the week who I'm hoping to have on the channel at some point. Not necessarily to have input into this live stream, but potentially to do another live stream beforehand. So I just think with me on the technical side, and I like this guy, his name's Philippe, him on the mental performance mindset side, like I think we've got a winning conversation. I think you guys are really going to enjoy it. So I met with him obviously offline away from the cameras initially just to catch up and say good day. And like I say, at one point I'm hoping to get him on the channel. Now, listen, we do have some updates that have just come in, rules and regulation updates. This was not part of my agenda, but I just saw them pop up on Instagram. I thought I'd include them. You guys let me know what you think about these. These are FIA regulation updates. Let's have a look at them together. So they've just posted this out on their Instagram. So I'm not sure if you've seen it, but we should talk to it because driving, attack and defense and racecraft and restarts and strategy and whatever, this all speaks to the tactical nature of the sport. So if you're not familiar with technical, tactical, mental, and physical, the 4 areas, this tells you what you can and can't do on the tactical side. So here we go. Causing a collision. Mention no names. This will be George Russell. Something like what happened at Spain, for example. If you lose control of your car and slide into another car, there'd be an argument to say you caused a collision. In that case, George would have been eligible for the following. Am I right or wrong in interpreting that way? Either A, a 10-second penalty, B, a drive-through, C, a 10-second stop and go, D, a grid place penalty if the driver failed to finish the race, and E, a 5-second penalty in mitigating circumstances. That's interesting. I wonder, therefore, what Max would have got. And the penalty points, obviously, up to 3 points. I wonder if that's, what Max, yeah, you saw those ones on Twitter a while ago, Mohit. So yeah, that's that. Again, I'm not sure if that's new or anything new in there. You guys let me know in the chat. This is the one that caught my attention because obviously with George braking under the safety car, Max overtaking under the safety car, what does that mean? Who was at fault? Was George brake testing? Did Max go past? Now, look, my understanding has always been like, it's occasionally you can slide in front or behind the other car, like just for a fraction of a second in those circumstances, or you can occasionally drop 10 car lengths back. Like it's not the end of the world. These are just guidelines at that point. If you just slide back in place and, resume your position or make up those 10 car lengths, like my understanding was it was all good. So yeah, I don't know why we've needed to clarify. Anyway, have a look at this. Overtaking another car behind the safety car is on your screen in front of you. If the offense being you overtook one car, then 10-second penalty. If you overtake 2 cars, drive through. If you overtake more than 2 cars, 10 seconds stop and go. Yeah, but that's great. But what happens in the event that George did, and I'm not saying he did, I don't know. What happens in the event that George did brake test Max? What happens then? Does this apply? Like F1 audience are not dumb, particularly you guys following this channel. You guys are switched on. Like we need to know, what does that mean? Define overtake. Is it a complete overtake? Is it front wing? Is it in the brake test case? What if like one of those little beaver things jumps across the track and George has to brake and Max overtakes? Like what's the gray areas like, mate, again, Thomas, what happens if the leader overtakes the safety car? Well, that can happen too. All of these things can happen. This is just like, okay, I understand the penalties, but in what situations? Okay, the next one, leaving the track and rejoining unsafely. So where have we seen this recently? We haven't seen this for a while, have we? Potentially Mexico, Austin. Was there some of that there? No. You guys will know better than me, just as I'm at capacity here. Anyway, if you leave the track and rejoin unsafely, like Canada, like we saw at Canada turn one, guys, Groundhog Day, you outbraking yourself at turn one and rejoining after turn two. 5-second penalty up to drive through. Okay, 2 penalty points as well. So I'm just reading this for the first time. And then you've got the last one, speeding in the pit lane during the race. Anyway, look, this is all rubbish, right? This is not worth the paper it's written on because it doesn't make sense. Like it doesn't, there are too many questions now. Like there's too much, you know what I'm saying, guys? There's too much between the black and the white and the gray areas. Like it needs to be defined. Was it a brake test from George? Again, I think what I said was sensible. It's pretty normal for the cars to slide like slightly ahead if someone brakes hard. You got to remember that they're trying to warm their brakes as well. They're trying to warm their tires. They're moving around. They're playing with accelerating to increase the rear temperature and then braking to increase the front temperature. And then they're swerving and trying to get temperature. So they're all trying to, particularly in the wet, this is going to be chaos, right? So they're all trying to do these things. For me, it's only normal and natural that one car can just slide in front of another momentarily. All right, fine, just come back in place. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. So I don't know why we need this, but it leaves us with more questions. So the more answers we have, the more questions we have as well. All right, so what else have we got on the top topics? So we got weather we need to talk about. Let's quickly bring that up as well, just while we're on the images section. Give me a sec, I'll bring that up for you guys. So this is the weather in Austria. I just grabbed this a few minutes ago. So we got rain on Thursday, like showers, thunderstorms, and then Friday's 25, Saturday 27, Sunday 29. So warming up throughout the weekend and hot conditions. This is going to be interesting because we're going to get a green track on Friday. When you've got the rain here on Thursday, cleaning the track, showers, whatever, nice and green for Friday. So track evolution will be a thing. The guys are going to go out and do their long runs on Friday, and they're going to get data that says, oh, the medium grain's up and this tire's a garbage tire and whatever. But running it on Sunday will be a very different thing in a nice, dry, rubbered up track, different situation. So keep an eye out for that. That's probably the first insight I can give you is the degradation on Friday that they get on the green track might not necessarily be what's exactly going to happen on Sunday. The tire driving on a rubbered in track, you know, it should be fine in that situation. Thermal degradation will be the key, overheating the rears on the exit of turn 3, and sliding of the fronts, of course, as well. McLaren won't have that problem with mega front end grip. Okay. Driver's mentality section. There's only one topic on the docket here, you guys that saw the agenda before the show. It is Lando Norris in the driver's mentality section. You won't be surprised to know why. Well, Lando had a terrible weekend last weekend. So firstly, there was that mistake in qualifying. I'm not sure if you guys saw it, being in the first run in Q3, just breaking into the final chicane, just slid the rear on entry. It could be a bunch of reasons. Nico Rosberg talked about the wind changing 180 into there for qualifying and for the race as well. So whether or not that contributed to the rear instability, the McLaren's got good, strong front end grip, potentially that as well. Brake balance, clicking the downshifts too quickly or just too much speed. But that put Lando under pressure for his final run in Q3. That's where I think things went wrong, not necessarily the final run, but the pressure he put himself under in that final run as a result of the mistake. Let me bring it up. We need to spend a bit of time on Lando in the mentality section. Let me see if I've got it. Give me a sec. I'll bring it up. Pause. Close. All right. It's going to be this one. Bang, here it is. So this is Lando's first error in Q3 in the final chicane. It just turns in, and again, the back gets away from him. So whether or not he was on a good lap or not, I can't remember, but this was where his weekend literally just started to unfold. So that's the first mistake that's happened there. Okay, so something really bad for me, my dishwasher just finishes. Something really bad for me was he was asking the team on the outgrid that is just before the race, and I called this out in my my Sunday race analysis. Is Oscar Piastri using the turn 6 entry curb? And it wasn't necessarily aimed at Oscar in the first instance. I'll roll the clip in a minute. And why it was on the recon lap. Like, I've got so many questions as to why at that point in the weekend, with regards to Oscar, he would want to know that information. Like, I'll cover it off in a minute, but let me just play the clip now and you guys can hear the team radio. Give me a sec. All right, here we go.
Cool. Jav, can you see if on laps to grid Oscar's using curb in turn 6 to then prepare turn 7?
Yeah, checking now.
Jav, can you see if on the laps to the grid, Oscar's using the entry curb at turn 6 to prepare for turn 7? Now, look, I've got so many questions. Like, why now? Why Oscar? Like, why? Like, at that point in the weekend, you should already know what's happening. Like, why are we asking these questions now? We've been speaking about the entry curb in chicanes for the longest time. We spoke about it in Imola. We spoke about it with Alex Albon. We spoke about Franco's crash in Imola. Liam Lawson had the struggles. Yuki Tsunoda, we spoke about that. We had Jack Villeneuve's audio clip. We spoke about how Jack said unloaded inside tyre on the first entry curb and then missed the second part. We had all that. That was Imola. Then in Canada, we're speaking about it all weekend, the Thursday live stream. We're talking about the curbs. Like, I've even got all of the pictures here from my live stream. We've been speaking about it all weekend. Like, why at that point? This is some of the stuff we were talking about. So I pulled up Vettel's lap from 2018. This is exactly the corner in question, by the way. Vettel's lap from 2018 or 2019 even, taking the first entry curb down at turn 6 to open up turn 7. Then I said, okay, George on his pole lap last year, he wasn't, but he probably should. We've been talking about it for like the whole time. Why now? Why on the outgrid does Lando want to know that information? For me, that's not good. Even in qualifying, like I'll show you guys the video. Yeah, we were talking about it after qualifying. Turn 6, we saw Charles's mistake was down here at turn 6. And then everything turn 7, I was saying, is downstream of turn 6. Like, here's a slow-mo of Charles. And you want to clip in with that entry curb as best as possible in order to help you with turn 7. Yes, Lando, you want to be doing that. The other question I had is, and this is Lando's mistake on his final run, clips the wall on the left here. Why? Because he didn't do what he should have done here, turn 6, get this tyre in. So the other question I have is, why Oscar? Like, who cares about Oscar? If you actually listen to the audio clip again, actually, sorry, this will show you George. Give me a sec, hopefully. Yeah, so this is George's pole lap. Bang, connects in with the entry. Like, it's not hard. It's not complicated. You don't need a phone Jav to work this out. Like, what does Jav know? I don't know, guys. So anyway, what did I want to show you guys that I just said before? Well, even Max, actually, he was not doing it in qualifying, and then he was doing it in the race. So this is Max climbing up all over it in the race behind George. Maybe he saw George do it, and then in qualifying, completely missed it. So now the other question I had was, why Oscar? Actually, yeah, that's what I was going to say. If you listen to it again, he was asking generally, but then he asks specifically on Oscar. So let's have a listen again.
Cool. Jav, can you see if on laps to grid Oscar's using curb
or
in
Oscar's
turn
using
6 to then prepare turn 7?
Yeah, checking now.
So look, I said that in my race analysis video. I'm like, why Oscar? Who cares what Oscar's doing? Like, what Oscar did a mega qual? Like, would it, like, again, if you just focus on yourself and try it for yourself and set your own car up for yourself and think for yourself and be yourself and like experiment and be curious and like explore the track. Again, practice is not just car practice or setup practice. It's also driver practice. What have you been doing Friday practice? What have you been doing Saturday practice? What were you doing all weekend in Imola, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday over the curbs there? Why now? Why Oscar? I got so many questions. The third question I've got is why the recon laps? Like, what's so important about a recon lap? A recon lap is just a chance for you to make sure the steering wheel works, track's clean, brakes work, have a look around. Like, no one's doing anything special on the recon laps, mate. I don't know. Yeah, I'm going scorched earth here, Sema. No one's doing anything special on the recon laps, man. That's not your data point. Your data point is qualifying, practice, Imola. Like, these are your data points. So I think it's just, it just reeks of under preparation. It's just really under prepared. I've got a little diagram on my screen here. Let's have a look on the whiteboard here, and it's I'm speaking about Lando here. Sema, I'll bring this down. I'm talking about Lando here, and I'm like, well, what's Lando doing wrong? Because if this is your event, you've got the preparation that happens before your event. And this is where I score Lando like a 2 out of 10. He's not doing the preparation. How do we know that? Because always the event is SH1T show. Always things go wrong here. And I think he does this in some ways too harshly as well. His reviews are very harsh. His reflection is very harsh. Feedback, I'm not sure who he gets that from. Maybe Jav. I don't know. But I think this is where Lando needs to do all the work. It's in the preparation piece. If you can just spend more time focusing on the driving side, there's better chances of success in the event. You don't need to do as much feedback. So that was my drawing there. And then to bookend the soliloquy, Jav comes back and says, yeah, we can't find the footage of Oscar's on board on the recon laps. And I'm just like, mate, like, so we're asking about the recon laps, Oscar, before the race to Jav, who doesn't even know what are we doing here? Like, is this the best in the world? Is this what you expect from the best in the world? Like, I don't know. Tell me, am I being too harsh at this point, or is this like really clumsy from Lando? That's where like Jav should know straight away. He'd be like, look, I don't know about the recon laps, but I've been watching these drivers all weekend. Actually, George's pole lap, he was taking it. So maybe you want to try it, Lando, like better late than never. Do you know what I mean? Like, or instead of on the Uber on the way home from the track, instead of scrolling TikTok, jump on YouTube, find people trying to analyze. Like, I'm not saying for me, find anyone who's talking about driving technique and see, okay, George was using it, Max was using it. This is what happened in Vettel's pole lap in 2018. It looks like there could be some opportunities. Maybe we'll try it in Friday practice. Like, again, it's really clumsy. Yeah. So look, yeah, don't think Lando is champion material. I don't want to go that far. Like, you're not far off. But like, that is a very rookie radio message, and it reeks of this under preparation. Yeah, just that whole thing. My insight here is these guys are not prepared for the event at all. So I say all of that to say that we had mistakes this time last year in Austria. We had mistakes last weekend, the crash against Oscar Piastri down the pit straight, and everywhere in between those two data points has been mistakes as well. I think Lando's got a lot of work to do, and that's a shame if you're a McLaren fan, because the car's a weapon actually at this point. Now, listen, guys, I met with the performance coach 2 days ago. I said to you guys in the intro to this live stream, I met with a mental mindset performance coach, and I'm going to have a talk to him about this, because I want to really understand what is Lando's problem, and I've got my own theory and own philosophy. I'll share that with you now. But there's a few areas when it comes to Lando. And I'll just run through these areas now. Is it the preparation piece, like we spoke about before? So is it this one? Is it this? Is it just this? I'm not sure. Or is it more than this? So that's the first one. There seems to be performance under pressure, seems to be another. So you've got preparation, which we just spoke about. Then you've got performance under pressure. So then you had Jolyon Palmer talking about Lando got it done in Monaco qualifying. That's the biggest pressure. How come he can't do it in Canada when he's under pressure, or other situations when he's under pressure, like Saudi Arabia qualifying when he crashed? So there's the preparation piece. There's the performance under pressure. That's a piece in and of itself. There's the self-doubt piece where, does he believe in himself? Is the self-confidence there? There's the self-sabotage piece where he actively talks down to himself and says, me, I'm wrong, this, that, I'm not good enough, blah, blah, blah. So there's a few pieces on which I want to get Philippe's opinion on. Now, my feeling, my philosophy is that all of the mental struggles are downstream of technical struggles. So what does that mean? Let me go back to the whiteboard and just draw it out for you guys so that we're super clear on this. So my philosophy, and this is like with the same with Lewis as well. If you're struggling on the technical side, that is your lap time, ability to drive the car quickly, that's only going to lead you one place. That's going to lead you to self-doubt, pressure, mistakes. Like it's going to lead you to all of that. It's going to lead you to all of the mental / mindset issues, I believe, are going to stem from this, the technical piece. So I reckon if you can resolve, therefore, for the technical piece, then this all takes care of itself. That's my philosophy. So what does that look like? Well, why is Lando like, where is all this coming from on the technical piece? Well, I showed you guys before. I'll show it to you again. This was in Bahrain. This was in Bahrain. He's been struggling with the front end of this McLaren for the longest time. I don't know why why the clip won't play, or it's 0 seconds. Give me a sec. But anyway, the entry oversteer that has been struggling with for the longest time this season, doesn't do good things for your confidence. Let's see if I can bring up another clip. All right, into China, turn 1. This is exactly like what we saw in Bahrain. So Lando turns in from high speed and the back is moving around. Everyone at McLaren, everyone online is saying it's the back, it's the rear grip. And I'm saying, no, it's the front, mate. The front's too powerful and Lando's hands are too quick such that the back steps out, right? So that's what I think we're seeing here. Have a look at his hands, the way he turns in. He keeps adding steering lock when I don't think he needs to. And that's when the back starts to get away. Here's another example. This is in China again, same problem. And we've seen it since Bahrain. We've seen it in China. We've seen it in Saudi Arabia. I saw it in Spain, 2 weekends ago. I'll show you guys the one in Spain. Whoop, there you go. Same problem. And it's like, what are McLaren doing? Like, we've seen it so many times. This is the problem. Because technical, imagine what this does to your confidence when you try to put a car into a corner at 180 miles an hour. Imagine what this does to your confidence. I think this is the technical piece that needs resolving. Lando hasn't naturally been a gel with the MCL39 such that, now it's creating pressure and he doesn't feel quite comfortable in the car. And it's just like, oh, it's not a good match. I do want to bring up all the examples. So if you just bear with me, I want to bring them all up because this is important. Like, I'm seeing this, McLaren need to be seeing this as well, and just resolve for it. Like, slow the steering rate down, slow his hands down a little bit, take a bit of front grip out of the car. Like, it's just, I don't know why they're not trying these things. Where are these videos? Give me a sec, I'll bring them up. The Bahrain testing one. Have a look. Yeah, it's here. So this is Bahrain testing. Like when you first jump in the MCL39, same thing. It's all the same thing. We saw it in Bahrain testing and Spain. You guys saw the example. This is Lando. And we don't seem to see the same thing with Oscar. Again, at turn 4, you just see it's like, it feels like the front has got too much over rotation in it. And we're going to see that, by the way, this weekend as well, a little bit. It's going to, like, if McLaren aren't switched on, which I don't think they are, we're going to see more of this. More of the same in Austria, because a lot of high-speed entries in Austria. So that's where it's going to crop up again. Where was the example in Saudi? If I have the example in Saudi, I'll show you guys it. Yeah, here we go. Here's your Saudi example. Under braking, so slightly different situation to like when he pitched it into Spain and those China and those fast corners. So this could be braking related. But yeah, here's a slow-mo. For me, it's like, well, here you go. Here's not necessarily braking related. Yes, it's under braking, but it's 1 or 2 downshifts, very light touch of the brake into this high-speed corner. So this is where I'm starting to see. Here's another shot. I've done well here. Got a lot of examples. Let me go back to those last 2, because those are high-speed entries. Not necessarily this one, but this one. So imagine what this does for your confidence. So I reckon if we can just sort this out, like all of the mindset issues, they won't disappear, but Lando can start to build that confidence back again. And I want to talk to the performance coach about that as well. So like if I get him on this channel, these are some of the things we're going to be talking about. So does that make sense? Yeah, here we go. So yeah, Toby, thanks for reminding me. So cut to the oversteer in Austria down the hill. Exactly what I'm thank you. Exactly what I lost my point there because I'm at full capacity here on these live streams, mate. There's monitors everywhere and stuff going on. Exactly. So what are we talking about this weekend? Why is this relevant for the Austria preview? Well, high speed entries. Exactly what we're talking about. So there'll be one here. I'll zoom in so you guys can see it. I'll also make this red. Okay, so there'll be one here. There'll be one here, here, and here. So these are where, like, yeah, just keep an eye out for my Friday practice video and a slow-mo of Lando struggling with the front end, just diving into some of these corners, getting over rotation and the back stepping out. Thomas, you're funny. Martin's office is like race control. Yeah, it is. So this is the problem, guys, because Lando's going to do it. He's going to go out in practice. Remember, I think he might be missing FP1 potentially, if I'm not mistaken, maybe for a rookie coming in. So this is where he'll jump in the car. He'll have the oversteer. He'll go back to Jav and say, Jav, what's going on? And Jav will be like, oh, yeah, I'll come back to you. And then this whole thing. And then for qualifying, when Lando needs to put this thing on the limit because he's competing against Oscar Piastri for pole in the World Championship, the back's going to get away from him, similar to Canada. That's going to put him back under pressure. And we're just in this constant loop of like front end grip, excessive front end grip, and then lack of confidence, lack of trust the car and everything. So I don't know. I feel like the car's good, but I think this is more in setup and race operations. They need to sort this out. So this is not like the guys back at the MTC, Rob Marshall, Peter Prodromou et al., these geniuses. The car's a weapon. It just needs to be tailored to suit Lando a little bit more. Obviously, he's too quick with his hands. So just slow that steering rate down and just go into corners more gently, tight lines, not sweeping in from edge of the track, not carrying so much speed and loading up the rear so much, and protecting the rear, brake balance forward, migrate forward, not using too much engine braking for Lando so that he can just protect the rear. And there's so many little things you can do to be able to sort this out. And then Lando can get pole and build confidence and start to be comfortable with the car and start to compete, fight for a championship. And it's all going to just start to move forward. We don't need to talk about self-doubt, preparation, self-sabotage, performance under pressure. All of these things can take a back seat. So I'm very much of the opinion, you guys let me know if you agree, that at least some of the mental is going to be downstream of the technical. I don't know. That's what I think. But again, I'm gonna talk to the I'm going to talk to our mental coach. All right. So that's the mindset section done. Geez, we covered half an hour on Lando. All right. That's the mindset section done. So I'll take a drink and then we're going to crack on with the track map. I'm going to show you guys around and I'm going to show you guys what's important around here. What I want to talk to you guys about is braking tools. And because look, there's not that many long corners around here. So it's not the braking tools and just your ability to nail your braking zones and leverage braking capacity is going to be important. I'm just reading you guys. Just try sending an email to McLaren with all of those clips and your comment. Mate, they'll probably block your email. I've emailed some F1 teams before. They just block your email if you try to help because they know best. They know best, mate. Remember, Jav, can you check what's happening at turn 6? Like they know best. So by the way, this is a McLaren drink bottle. It does not mean I'm a supporter of the team. I'm a neutral. I'm like Switzerland. This was sent to me via quad lock. So cheers, guys. All right, track map. So this is like, remember Imola in Canada when I was talking about entry curbs? Take that hat off. We're done with chicanes. We're done with entry curbs. We're going to put on the braking hat because high-speed braking uphill and downhill is very important. And should I go corner by corner? Oh, I'm just looking at my notes to see how best to explain this to you guys. Yeah, let's go corner by corner. All right, corner by corner. Whiteboard. So we'll start with turn 1. What's this comment? Guy Sambo, just as I clean the whiteboard. Nice to hear someone actually speaking somewhat positive of Lando. Most people are blah, 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 Lando bottles. Yeah, 100%. Like, nah, I don't want to say it's his personality or he's a bottler or anything. Like, I'm trying to get to the bottom of it. I'm trying to reverse engineer and problem solve for him and be like, well, this will be helpful if we can resolve the front end issues. And this is not helpful. And for the rest of it, yeah, just get the mindset coach. All right, cool. Let me bring all these questions down. Okay, so turn 1, I want to show you guys. So this is where there's a secret to turn 1 that only Max Verstappen knows at the moment, but Kimi Antonelli will know it as well. There's entry curb space available. I was talking about this in Spain. I'll zoom in for you guys so you can see it. There's entry curb space available here. You want to get half your car width across it so that you can just carry more speed into turn 1. Now, look, there are times and places when you want to run a tight line. This is not one of them. Open up this corner as much as possible so that you can carry the most speed through turn 1, and you're going to carry that all the way up the hill as well. Max is the only one that seems to know this, disappointingly, and I think that this is something that has contributed to his 21, 22, 23, 24 success around here in terms of qualifying at least. But I think Kimi Antonelli will give him a run for his money there as well. But I'm looking for this, like who's the first person to just do that? Because that's the correct thing to do. So let me bring up the pictures. Give me a sec. I'm a bit all over the place here. So this is what we're talking about. Turn 1. So this is a shot from 2021. Max, this is good. I'm not sure. I haven't walked the track, so I don't know. This is what your track walk is for. What's the difference between this green piece of asphalt here and obviously the red and white is painted curb? That's fine. But that's Max in 2021 on his pole lap. You'll scroll down. 2022, same thing, same entry. Good. I like it. 2023, again, same entry. And 2024 on his pole lap as well. So I would be saying, what is this blue or green thing here? Obviously, Max doesn't feel like he can get his left front up on that and squeeze even more. He definitely can in terms of the right front's not the limitation. He's well within track limits here to be able to do this. But I think that there's opportunities here for those who can do it. Now, you might be sitting at home thinking, well, this is a very straightforward tip, Martin. Like, what's going on? Why aren't the rest of them doing it? Well, here are your Mercedes friends. It's obviously not that straightforward if we're talking about world champions of the Lewis Hamilton variety, because Lewis doesn't do this. This is him on his 2016 pole lap. I know it's a while ago, but Lewis is typically a tight line driver anyway. He's not opening up the entry to turn 1. There's like, you've lost half a tenth straight away, or maybe even a tenth as you carry that speed all the way down that long straight down to turn 3. So that's Hamilton. Hamilton's colleague, Valtteri Bottas, again, not troubling the entry curb to be able to open up the corner and carry more speed through. And again, I just want to say there's tight lines and there's opening up corners, like different techniques. This is not a time to play a tight line before you've got a long straight afterwards. No. Sweep in with as much speed as possible. Load the car up as much as possible because it's going to help you carry that speed all the way down the straight. So again, back to our whiteboard, if I just draw in red, this is going to help you, bang, send it all the way down there by doing this, getting your left front on that curb. So that's what your track walk is for. You want to be all eyes down here, paying attention to that piece of road. How much is usable is the question. Not is it good, not is it going to work, not hey Jav, who's using it? No. Can I use it and how much can I use? That's all you need to know. So that's turn 1. Now there's an uphill braking here at turn 1. I'm not going to give it necessarily heaps of weighting at this point. I've been thinking a lot during the week about uphill and downhill braking. I've been talking to some vehicle performance scientists as well, the ex-F1 engineers who might be able to help me in this area. But just by talking to them and reading as well, I don't think we need to change too much in terms of brake balance, at least, in like braking setup for uphill and downhill braking, particularly not this corner because it's quite short braking zone. But just as I understand with the loads, the static load obviously changes, but I think the dynamic loads are, fairly similar. So I'm talking about uphill braking and downhill braking now. and the changes that you need to make for brake balance between the two. At the moment, my recommendation is do not change your brake balance for an uphill or downhill. Just look at the corner type. And then if you're braking downhill, you need to brake progressively and use a little more engine braking. Otherwise, if you're braking uphill, you're good to go. You can brake later. And obviously, if you're braking downhill, you need to brake earlier. So these are all the things that you need to consider as well. So I'm still trying to learn a bit more about that piece. Like, what does it mean for the brake balance to brake uphill or downhill? Does it mean that you've got more capacity on the fronts or more capacity on the rears in a particular uphill or downhill situation? If I just go back to the whiteboard, and we're going to be talking about this more as we get to turn 3 and 4. But if I just draw, like, you know, you're looking side on, this is the surface, here's your car, and you know you're braking downhill. If you brake hard with a lot of brake balance on the front, there's the potential for the car to go into a big pitch. How big, I'm not sure. These cars are pretty low, and they got a lot of downforce. So maybe that's a thing, maybe that's not a thing. Again, this is vehicle dynamics. It's not really how much load is on the front tires and can they deal with more front brake balance? Or because weight is actually on the front, does that mean that they can then deal with more front brake balance? They've got more capacity. I'm not sure. Again, what I would say is the only two things I'm certain on are when you're braking downhill, like the situation you see here. Number one, brake earlier, obviously. And number two, brake progressive. So what that means is just gently wind on the brake pedal. Don't smack it super hard, because then you're going to get this pitch that we've been talking about, like this here. So those are the two things I'm certain on. Now, what it means for brake balance and so on, again, I'm still trying to work that out. So bear with me on that one. All right, let's head over now to turn 3, because there's a few things we need to talk about on the way to turn 3. A lot of braking adjustments get made at this point, exiting turn 1, heading up to turn 3. So I'll show you where we are. I'll just zoom out. We're talking about here and here, the braking adjustments that start when you head off into the uphill braking of turn 3. So what sort of changes have been made over the years? Well, the teams do a pretty good job at hiding the steering wheel, and like to make sure none of us guys like me see what's going on with the steering wheel. But here we could see this was in 2018. 2018? No, this looks like the black 2020 Mercedes. Maybe I'm wrong there. But anyway, brake balance change, 57.5 Valtteri brings up. So whether or not that's more or less, now you've got to remember, he just came through turn 1. So I don't know. Why would you be making a change for turn 1? They're very similar uphill braking zones. Probably wouldn't necessarily be changing it. But again, I'm still learning in this space. I'm trying to understand it. So brake balance change gets made here, 57.5. What else gets made here? An engine braking adjustment gets made, which I can show you or snap up for you as well. This is an engine braking adjustment, says EB2. So I think, as I understand, the EB works, well, there's EB1, 2, and 3, is my understanding. And one of them is going to be more engine braking than the other. Potentially he's increasing the engine braking for this corner. Again, I'm still trying to understand and learn which way is more engine braking and which way is less engine braking and that sort of thing. But yeah, these are the sort of changes that are happening in real time that I want to talk you guys through. So a brake balance change, an engine braking change, and then you've got brake migration changes happening as well. Let's bring that one up here. This one here. So now this is 2018, sorry. So here's a clear brake migration change from Bottas. Brake migration 1. So that will be, brake migration 1 will be just a setting of brake migration, whether or not it's forwards or rear. Again, I can't tell you guys because I don't know. But essentially, as Valtteri comes on and off the brake pedal, the brake balance is moving throughout the corner. So if we go back to the whiteboard, this is for the uphill turn 3. Uphill, car, rear tire. As he brakes, even more weight is going to come across the front. There's the potential for add brake migration to the front as well to stop the car quicker. Again, I'm really stabbing in the dark here because I'm not actually sure what brake migration 1 is or does. if you guys know, like if someone's closer to Mercedes and knows these things, that would be helpful, because I'm just trying to work out which way things go. But that's that one, brake migration 1. And was there another shot I had here? Yeah, so this is on the exit of the corner we're about to speak about, and it's brake migration 2. There you go. MIG. It says BRK, brake, MIG, migration, setting number 2. So Valtteri's obviously got a setting for the previous corner and a setting for this corner. So I think that if I had to have a stab, here's my stab. As he's going uphill here, this one, I would say that he's B, MIG, forwards, because it's a very straight line braking up here. Car's nice and stable. You want to stop the car very quickly. It's not about carrying speed or anything like that. And then the change that gets made down here into turn 4, I would say, is brake migration rearwards, because what happens is you start to turn into this corner, the front, inside front gets unloaded, and then it doesn't do you any favors. So you want to migrate rearwards, not to mention this is the downhill one as well. So that's where, if I had to have a stab in the dark, that's what I'm thinking. Now, listen, guys, cast your minds back to Monaco, because I spoke about this in Monaco. I spoke about downhill braking. You've got the downhill braking into the Nouvelle chicane, number 1, and you've got downhill braking into Mirabeau, number 2, but very different braking conditions. So you can't just say when it's downhill braking, do this, because there's downhill braking and there's downhill braking. There's 2 different types, right? So I'll explain to you what I mean by that. So this is your example 1, downhill braking into the Nouvelle chicane. Kimi Räikkönen locks the rears here, and that's because it goes over a crest. I'll show you guys on the whiteboard what happens here. So into the Nouvelle chicane, if we draw in section again, it's like you come and then it goes down like that. So the car comes over this crest over here, and then the rear gets light. The rear gets unloaded over this crest. So that's where Räikkönen's locked the rears here. But this is downhill braking. They lock the rears, that can happen, that's fine. But then Lewis Hamilton into the Mirabeau, you'll remember this picture, downhill braking into the Mirabeau. He's locked up this tire. That's the unloaded inside front tire into Mirabeau. Why? Because it's downhill, yes, but the track falls away into the gully at that point, such that this tire is actually in the air. So in that case, he's locked the front. You can tell that he's locked the front because this dot here, this tread dot, we can see it because the tire is not rotating. And then on the other tire, it's rotating, so you won't be able to see any of those dots. So that's where Hamilton downhill braking has locked the inside front. Räikkönen downhill braking has locked the rear. You can't just say for uphill or downhill, this is the condition. I really think it's going to be the corner type, what's happening, and so on. And so I hope I explain that to you with what Valtteri's doing. With the straight line braking, uphill, yeah, go for it, front brake balance, front migration, whatever. And on this one, because it's downhill and not necessarily, because it's downhill, but because of the corner type, as you come in here, it's just like that entry, then, you know, there's potential for the front right to get unloaded. This is very typical of what we're going to see down at turn 4. This sort of thing here. Cool. Makes sense? Sorry, guys. I know that was like a lot of information at once, but essentially there's a lot of changes happening for uphill, downhill, corner type, the load transfers, the migration, the engine braking, and so on. Okay. Now also into turn 4, I just want to speak about that corner a little bit more. Like I said before, so you want to brake progressively here. I'll write you guys some notes so that it's clear. Give me a sec. Let's rub all this out. So in turn 3, you want to just stop the car. That's the most important thing. Just like stop it as quickly as possible. It's not about carrying speed. Turn 4, things change. All right. So here's what I would do for turn 4, that downhill braking. Engine braking. I'm going to smash it. It's going to increase. I'll smash the gears more personally as a driver. And then I'll also increase the engine's engine braking setting as well. So I'm going to do that engine braking and downshift nice and quick. So two engine braking related changes. Now brake balance forward, brake balance rearwards or migrate rearwards. So the BB can go rearwards. The MIG can go rearwards as well. I'm going to brake earlier because I'm braking downhill, remember? And then I'm going to brake progressive with my introduction of the pedal as well. So this is This is what you need to be able to do, guys. This is the difference between quality and rubbish, right? This will be the difference between the prepared and the underprepared. In practice, it's not necessarily your job to pick a front wing angle. It's your job to try any combination of these and see what works. Try this. Does it work? Okay, if it works, try this. Do they work together, or is it just that works? Okay, that one works. These you're going to need to do in any case. So I'll highlight them green. You're going to need a brake progressive. You're going to need a brake earlier. But I would be experimenting with this. Is it just the balance, or can you actually start the brake balance forward and then migrate it, run it away throughout the braking phase? You know, and how do you use that with your downshifting? This is where it's going to be won and lost. Because look, Austria is not a very technical track. We haven't got chicanes, hairpins, S's. This is not Austin or Silverstone with S's. This is not Hungary with long corners, Netherlands with long corners. You need to nail this section. And that's what Valtteri, that's why Valtteri had all those poles. That's why he was on the images, changing all the migration, and everything, because he worked this out like Nico Rosberg style. So if you can do this, right, in turn 1, 3 and 4, you know, that's most of the lap. The rest of it is going to be, okay, 6, maybe a downshift or 2. Most of this is just going to be high speed, full throttle, the rest of it. You see some of the speeds here. What do we got? 245 kilometer corner, 245, 170 for the final fourth gear. So these are all quick corners. It's these 70s, 100s, and 135s. These are the ones where my attention will be. So I reckon whoever can just work out turn 1, turn 3, and turn 4 with the braking tools that you see on your right-hand side, mate, you're good. That's all you need to do. Cool. So as for all of the other corners, this is where I think Lando is going to struggle with that entry instability. Turn 6, turn 7, turn 9, and turn 10. We spoke about that before. I'm going to have a video prepared. As soon as it happens, I'm going to call it out, of course. Hopefully he's watching and can prepare for that and sort that out. But I don't know what they're doing. So that's that. So like I say, I think 1, 3, and 4 are key corners. The rest of the track is just, you know, you just need good stability. Okay, cool. We're doing well. All right, let's keep cracking on. So we haven't got too much more to talk about. So the next piece is going to be the compounds that we have. I'll bring up the image now. We'll talk to the compounds. The choice of compounds the team can use is the same as last year's, namely C3 is the hard, C4 is the medium, and C5 is the soft. So they're quite soft compounds, which is good. I'm happy. Good choice. It means we might get a 2-stop again. The track surface at the Red Bull is rather old and highly abrasive, but wear is not a key factor. Okay. With very few corners, the track is not severe in terms of lateral forces exerted on the tires. Can be. I'm not sure if I agree with all of this. While degradation is mainly thermal in origin, which is down to the track layout, several hard braking and acceleration points. Okay, we've spoken about them. Managing tire overheating, particularly on the rear axle, is a significant challenge. Okay, I think it will be a challenge for tires. Not sure if I agree with this part, like the where did it say the lateral forces are not high? I'm not sure I agree with that. I think lateral will still be quite high. Through some of these high speed corners, the tires will be straining quite a lot. So I think it will be hard on tires. I think we will see a 2-stop. And that's what we saw last year. So let's bring up what happened last year as well. Yeah, it was won by Russell because obviously you guys saw the Verstappen and Norris coming together. And they did 2-stop, Piastri 2-stop, Sainz 2-stop as well. Start on the medium, hard. Yeah, so they go on the hard in the middle stint to try to make it to the end in some situation. But I like Russell's strategy. Commit to a good 2-stop, medium, hard is a good strategy. Verstappen was doing medium, hard, medium. Had to pit again. Norris was doing medium, hard, medium as well. So 2-stop, we're looking at probably a 2-stop again, I think will be the way to go. And look, it's easy to overtake. Not easy, but overtaking is possible around here as well. Now, turn 1, lap 1, and restarts. Another big topic for this, because if you get a restart, you need to be prepared. You need to work out, like, where am I going to, if you're the lead car, you need to work out where am I going to go and what am I, you know, where could I be vulnerable? So what's going to happen? All right, so let's say you're the lead car. You're Max Verstappen in the lead of the Grand Prix. The safety car has just pulled in over here in the pit lane. And you got to work out now, where do I go and run and resume this Grand Prix? Well, probably not through turn 9. I just think firstly it's too early. Secondly, it's a fast corner, so you go on throttle, the other guy can go on throttle straight away as well behind you. Even turn 10, I would say the similar thing is happening. I'm just trying to look back now and see, is it possible to go earlier? Not really. One thing you can do is just weave and pretend you're weaving and then stop and then go. Maybe that's a strategy, but I think, no, that one won't work because P2 will read that one. P2 won't be weaving. They'll just be right behind you and go. Look, I think you're safe in any case, because even if you just go, you know, you're gonna get here to the turn 1 braking zone first. And then the question is whether or not you're under attack down into turn 3. Obviously, this is what you're thinking about on the safety car restart. How do you make sure you pull a decent gap? Remember, there's going to be no DRS anyway on the first lap down here. So look, I just think, again, it's a very non-technical track. So just go, I guess, go through 9 or go through 10 or go between 9 and 10. Is that an option as well? Maybe between 9 and 10. Or actually, here's a good idea as well. Down the pitch straight. So go through 9, go through 10, and then at one point just accelerate down the pitch straight. That's also an option. I think anywhere through the green area that I've drawn, I'll highlight it in the red so you guys know. I think going anywhere through here should be fine. So I don't see risk per se. Now, turn 1, in terms of turn 1, lap 1, look, again, guys, I still think you need to fight and compete for the inside, even if it means you can defend a place or take a place into turn 1. I'd rather you do that and defend again into turn 3 than not take that place at all. So what does that mean? Well, that means that if the grid is like this, and we're talking about here now, this section of track, I'll make it red so you guys can see. If the grid is like this, I'd rather everyone fight and compete for the inside and either take a place or defend a place. So let's say this is P2 over here against P3. I'd rather P2 defend and shoot across to P3 and then P3 switch over and get a run on you down the straight. And all you need to do is the exact same thing again. All you need to do if you're P2 is defend again into the turn 3. There's a second step of defense that needs to be done here. Why? Because turn 1 is very quick. So, you know, they're going to get a run on you and they're going to start to attack you again into turn 3. So what I would say, my insight for this is the attack and defense into turn 1 is only half of the job. Turn 1, your attack and defense, it's half the job. The second half of the job also needs to happen down at turn 3 as well. That's my insight. If you want to defend into 1, that's fine. You are going to be under attack into 3 as well. So that's my insight. Okay. Predictions for the Grand Prix. Look, it's going to be hot. It's going to be dry. I think it'll be close. It's going to be about top speed. It's going to be about traction. Not necessarily about front grip so much. I think McLaren, again, can't necessarily demonstrate their biggest strength at this Grand Prix like they can in a China, in a Hungary, in a Netherlands. Once we get to Hungary and Netherlands, guys, McLaren is going to clean up and destroy. Long corners, front grip. We're going to be talking about long corners, short corners, and tight lines there. Here it's different. It's about top speed. Again, I'll just go back to the whiteboard briefly. It's going to be your top speed here, here, here. Speed trap is here. So that's important. Your traction, by drawing green, your traction is very important here. And to some extent here, you're turning and accelerating at the same time. Little bit of traction. Oh, I forgot this one, 4 as well. And then your high speed braking as well. Braking stability I'm talking about. But we spoke about that with all the braking tools and braking setup. That's going to be key into 3. And I think that's going to be key into 4 as well. You got braking, high speed braking. You've got traction. And then you've got the top speed here. Sorry, do it in orange. Top speed, top speed, top speed. So those like, now look, I think Mercedes are pretty good in the top speed and traction areas. Obviously they won Canada, so they're good in that. Yeah, look, I mean, McLaren obviously would be strong, particularly in this section, I think, 6 and 7. I think McLaren are going to be strong through here. There's not much lap time in the back end of the track, so McLaren will be strong there. I really think the lap is won and lost in 1, 3, and 4. Turn 1, turn 3, and turn 4. So I think it'll be close. I say all that to say it'll be close. It's a short lap. There aren't many long corners. It's going to be traction, top speed, braking grip, and front grip is not necessarily going to be the be-all and end-all. Okay, got through everything with 1 minute to go. Beautiful. All right, let's take a few questions. I'll have a drink. We'll take a few questions. We'll stay for another 5 minutes. And hopefully that made sense. Let's see who's got the first one. Barbara, what will happen if there is hail during the Grand Prix? Will they suspend the race? I don't think we'll get hail, but I think they would, yeah. Wheezy, best place to restart from safety car? Hopefully I discussed that. I think you've got plenty of options. 9 and 10, the last 2 corners you can run. Even on the pit straight you can run. I think the biggest call out is your defense into not only turn 1, but into turn 3 as well. So keep in mind that. Wheezy, I just answered that. Yeah, guys, ask me your questions. They're probably coming through as well. The live stream's normally a few minutes ahead of the chat. Bitter Dysania, would Charles be a beast in the McLaren with his tight line driving style? Ooh, good question. That's a great question. Look, the tight line, I feel like in the long corners of constant radius, so the turn 12 in Spain and the turn 1 in China, yes. Those types of corners, yes. But then to go as far as to say he will be a beast in that car in all types of corners, in all types of conditions, in all types of brake, like I'm not sure we can extrapolate that far. But I think, yes, in the long corners of constant radius, leveraging the tight line, looking after the front tires and using the front grip of that McLaren nicely, yes. I'd say yes. Here's a question, not question, but comment on Lando. When he doesn't have the confidence in the car, it affects him mentally. Then he overdrives and trying to compensate it for that. Yeah, so that's, yeah, I agree. The mental is downstream of the technical, like I said before. Mr. Alex, would the V lines work here? No, you haven't necessarily got those types of corners. I'm just looking at the track map now. Potentially turn 3 a little bit. So that's the uphill braking at the top of the track. Potentially a little bit, but not really. Most of it's fast, flowing, high speed, keep minimum speeds active. Like turn 1, opening up the entry into turn 1, carrying speed through is the way to go. It's not, I don't think we're talking about short corners here. Say Oscar wins this race. Do McLaren prioritize him? I don't see what would have changed. Say Oscar wins this race. He's still leading the world championship, still winning races, still all good. The McLaren's still strong. Why? What would be the change? Why would they need to prioritize him now? Or because we're one race closer to the end? I'm not sure. I don't think they will. I think McLaren will just let it unfold. They'll only prioritize in the event that they need to. But in the event that they're just going to run for this championship unopposed, there's no need for them to do anything. They probably won't. Here we go. In Austria 24, I think Lando wanted to attack Max again on lap 64 because he knew he was going to get a 5-second penalty for track limits. So he wanted to pass Max and bolt away in free air. Ooh, yeah, that's possible. But how would Lando have known? Because, it's possible, but it's unlikely because you're talking about only one corner before then turn 1. He would have had to exceed track limits. He would have had to know that is my third one. It would have had to been confirmed by the stewards that it was that one. And then also Max is the one going to have to, if Max does not let Lando through, Max is also going to get that 5-second penalty as well. So, yeah, I mean, you raise a good point, but I think there's also a bit of grey area there as well. Yeah, it's possible. What you're saying is possible. I'm not sure whether he would have known. Like, we're talking about McLaren here. They're not like, yep, that's our third strike. Like, they would have found this out later, I think. So, yeah, during the crash, I think it pops up later. Lando gets the 5-second penalty. Yeah, you guys in the chat are saying that. Yeah, well, look, in that case, if you are 100% guaranteed that you are going to get the 5-second penalty, yeah, you got nothing to lose. You have to attack. Yeah. But not around the outside. Yeah. Do what worked. Go up the inside. Miami Buras, is it better to have more wing in the front end because of the 2 DRS zones? Is it better to have more wing in the front end because of the 2 DRS zones? Not sure what you're linking the front end with the rear DRS for. Essentially what you're saying is it better to carry more wing and then open that wing down the DRS? Yeah, potentially for a qualifying advantage, you can optimize for that, but you're going to be swallowed in the race, I think. You'll be a parachute. So you got to think about that as well. Like having straight line speed is very helpful in racecraft. Attack and defense, like is very helpful because it means you can pass cars and they can't pass you. So I'd always go for top speed in the race and try not to have more wing if possible. I think someone else said Lando 20 was under investigation for the 5-second penalty when they crashed. So he wanted to get past and not sit back. Okay, yeah, look, if he was and he knows he was, yeah, you've got no choice. You got to attack. Susie, I love this channel, best F1 content, even though lower lap time has never driven an F1 car. Thank you, Susie. Yeah, that's true. Thomas, I said earlier, every sim racer uses turn 1 width on entry. Probably where Max learned it. Yes, absolutely, you're correct. There's so much knowledge that you can learn from the sim. Mucking around with your friends and colleagues on the sim, trying different lines, seeing what works. Yeah, that's a sim move. 100% that's a sim move. Why is it a sim move if you're not familiar with? If you're not familiar, why? Because the sim doesn't simulate well the off-track grip versus the track grip. Like, it's not like the track has heaps of grip and then off-track has no grip. The grip level is pretty much the same. So, you know, you start to use more parts of the track that like have just the same amount of grip. If I go over to the whiteboard and show you what I'm talking about, let's get rid of all this. So what are we talking about here? We're talking about the turn 1 entry curb. Turn 1 goes like that, up like that. Here's your curb. I've drawn it really badly, but this is the important part, the entry curb here. And what you want to do is put your left front here, right front here, left rear, right rear. It's because in the sim, this grip here is very similar to the track grip, so you might as well use it. But then what Max is doing is every lap he's going over this, he's cleaning it up, and then he's starting to use it. Antonelli will be the same. Antonelli will be using this as well, for sure. Barbara, can they turn efficiently also on wet or intermediate? Or do they need to change entry into the curves? Oh, in the rain, it's a completely different line. Have a look at Hamilton's pole lap here in 2020, was it? Completely different lines. You want to break off the rubber. So if we go back to our whiteboard, particularly, maybe not necessarily turn 1 because a tight line into turn 1 is going to be a challenge, but definitely into turn 3, you want to break off the rubber. So if the rubber is here on the racing line, you want to break a step inside of that and break off the rubber. Then you want to shoot deep, go off the rubber again, corner off the rubber, and then straight line acceleration, cross over the rubber as well. So you cross over the usual racing line in 2 parts, here and here, and get your braking, rotation, and traction all done away from the normal racing line. So you're completely different. Yes, you will change your entries, change your exits as well. Zab, have any F3, F2, or F1 drivers ever reached out to you for consulting? No, not at the moment. I'm hopeful at one point that I can coach in those categories, but not at the moment. Jasmine, Martin, your thoughts about Alex Dunn and Dino this weekend? I haven't prepared anything for the rookies that are out there this weekend. Do a good job, be professional, don't crash. Tune into the Thursday live stream. Make sure you're up to date with the engine braking. Like, just go out there and, like, I don't want to say enjoy it because that's not the right advice. Don't enjoy it. This is work. Like, don't go out there and enjoy it and have a good time. No, go out there and be professional. Have a look around FP1, try a few different lines, see what works, what doesn't work, try a few different braking setups, build up to the weekend. Like, go out there and be professional. Don't go out there and have fun. I hate it when they say that. It's not, you don't want to go out there and have fun. Like, you go out there and do a good job is what you want to do. KJM, would teams try the brake tricks at 3 and 4 on the sim already and know what to do, or would they need more? Yeah, hopefully, firstly, if they've had that time in the sim to be able to do that. I'm not sure because there's other priorities in an F1 team, whether that's marketing or training or media or whatever. Yes, I would hope so. But then secondly, is there the curiosity, like, I'm going to play with the tools here? Or do they just jump in, do a few laps and try a new part, a new floor, or a new front wing for driver feedback? I think that's where most of it is. It's like, hey, Lando, welcome back to the sim. We've got a new floor for you to try. We've simulated how it's going to feel. Jump in and let us know what you think. He drives around, does a few laps and goes, oh, yeah, it's all right. Yeah, I like it. It's a little bit of understeer in turn 4. All right, cool. I'll see you next week. I think it goes something like that. It's not necessarily like give the feedback and then say to the engineers, good night, guys. Goodbye. I'm going to stay here till and try different braking setups and different lines. And I don't think they're doing that level. So would the teams try the brake tricks on the sim and know what to do? Firstly, it's not up to the team. The driver should be doing this. Or would they need more? And yeah, they should be doing this after hours. Yeah, I'd be doing it 100%. A couple more questions. Zab, you are a gold mine. They are missing out big time. Far too kind. Thanks, Zab. Z Tech LV, lower lap time. You deserve so much success. Keep up the good work. Thank you. Okay, why don't we leave it there, guys? So look, that's what we're looking out for this weekend. Where do they do the restarts? Who's going to use the turn 1 entry curb? Keep an eye on the steering wheel. See if you can see those changes being made in the uphill braking turn 3, the downhill braking turn 4. Have a look for Lando's front end grip and the oversteer struggles and what that does for his confidence and what that means for his weekend. Keep an eye out for those things, guys. Enjoy the weekend. As always, I will be putting out a video after practice and qualifying with my insights. I look forward to sharing them with you there. Cheers.